Last year, David, here at the Winston World Finals, we saw three of the most terrifying fires in drag racing history. First, it was Gary Densham to light up, flames literally surrounding the car and melting the fiberglass body. Then it was Texan Billy Meyer on fire at the finish line, the parachutes burning off the car, the fiberglass starting to melt around Billy Meyer. Then, four-time world champion Don the Snake Prudhomme, the most terrifying ride of his 20-year drag racing career. Hard to believe that all three of these men walked away from these fires and are competing here today in round one of funny car competition.
Not only are all three competing in the first round, but two of these racers, Billy Meyer and Don Prudhomme, are in the thick of the hunt for that Winston World Champion title here at the World Finals.
But they'll have to contend with Frank Hawley, who has the points lead. Here's round one action. This is the Chief Auto 711 car in the near lane with Tripp, Shumake of Phoenix, Arizona at the wheel.
And Tim Gross in the Datsun 280ZX bodied car. Gross transplanted from California to Michigan and now back in California again. For Tripp Shumake, he is driving a team car. There's actually two of these cars, one driven by Billy Meyer, the other by Tripp Shumake.
Tripp Shumake in the Ford EXP bodied car that is actually Billy Meyer's new car for '83. Meyer is using Tripp Shumake as a blocker here, hoping that Tripp can get to Frank Hawley and Don Prudhomme early in the going.
And if so, that will allow Billy Meyer to move into that Winston World Champion title. It gets rather complex because there are four drivers who are capable of winning it at this event.
Tripp Shumake here in the tower lane, and Tripp Shumake is away first. Tripp Shumake with far more power than that of the Datsun car of Tim Gross. It is Tripp Shumake getting there at a beautiful 583. 232 miles an hour. So the little rented driver from Phoenix, Arizona, so far doing the job he was hired to do by Billy Meyer.
And that is winning the race and advancing into the next round. Eventually, he will have to match up against one of those drivers that is in the chase for the Winston World Champion title.
Beautiful funny car here in the near lane as the 82 Camaro body goes down over the chassis of Bruce Iverson. Iverson's from Southern California. He is up against Salt Lake City's Garth Widdison, and both of these are really kind of unknown quantities. They seldom really qualify for national event competition. Look at this beautiful Camaro, David.
This low-slung car surprised everybody by running in the 5-second bracket in qualifying and moved up into the upper half of the field. In other words, cars 1 through 8. And shuffled the field around a little bit right at the very end of qualifying, and that surprised everybody.
The funny cars accomplishing their tires, smoking, ground, pound, and burnouts. One thing that has made them so popular with fans all over the country. They use essentially the same kind of nitro-burning engine as we saw in Top Fuel, except here the engine is in front of the driver. They're a much shorter wheelbase, plus they have the fiberglass replica bodies draped over the sophisticated chassis. You're looking at $60,000, $70,000 worth of rolling drag racing stock here.
Garth Widdison driving the Battlestar car. There can't be that many funny cars in the state of Utah, Steve.
I believe he's the only competitive one, David.
Well, he is very competitive because he just left Bruce Iverson sitting in the blower, comes apart. Something comes off of the car of Bruce Iverson, and Garth Widdison wins the race. Widdison coming in with an elapsed time of 6:43, not competitive by any stretch of the imagination.
Here is the car that has the lead for the World Championship. The Chi-Town Hustler. Frank Hawley for Pat Minnick out of Chicago, Illinois. Garth Widdison being pushed off the racetrack down at the far end. But Frank Hawley, who has won, 3 national events so far this year?
He'll be racing against Al Sigrini. Sigrini, winner of the Winter Nationals, the first race of the year, has got his work cut out for him because Frank Hawley has been on a roll all season long. Everybody said this is basically an exhibition car. They can't make it through a whole series and season of competitive racing, but look at this.
Yeah, everybody said they don't have enough money, enough parts. Al Sigrini, now that's one of those $250,000 18-wheelers. Sigrini over in the far lane. The Chi-Town car has an old ramp-back truck with about 500,000 miles on it, but the young Canadian driver, Frank Hawley, has done a tremendous job. Austin Coyle setting his driver here in the near lane. They feel they've won the World Championship, but they're just not counting their chickens quite yet.
He pulls away from Al Sigrini. Frank Hawley increases his lead in the middle of the course. Sigrini's engine goes away, and Frank Hawley wins it.
At 5.93 seconds, 241 miles an hour, Frank Hawley picks up some badly needed points to hold off Billy Meyer and the Snake.
The eliminations in a drag racing program are in single elimination style like a basketball tournament. If you win, you advance to the next round. And here's the man every Everybody's been waiting to see the quickest funny car in the history of drag racing, Don the Snake Prudhomme in the near lane.
Earlier in our telecast, you saw the Snake melt the Pepsi Challenger from last year. Here is Frank Hawley coming out of the car. He was very nervous young man going into round one. Now maybe some of those butterflies will go away as the helmet of the mask comes off.
Our Diamond B camera is right on top of the action for Don Prudhomme. He had the most incredible time of his life at Indianapolis at the U.S. Nationals with a 5:63 elapsed time. He is racing the Pisano car. Joe Pisano is the car owner. Craig Epperly, the driver, here at the World Finals out of Downey. And look at Prudhomme go.
Oh, Prudhomme is laying one down as getting very close to the rail was Craig Epperly. It is Don Prudhomme at a 6.03, 241 miles an hour. Prudhomme picks up another 200 valuable Winston points. He's still got a backdoor shot at this world title.
And for Prudhomme, I'm sure he's not going to be happy with the performance. The car left the starting line very well, but it certainly didn't perform in the middle of the course as he expected it to do.